morning.
Hi, you are so welcome to another episode in our Orna Online triathlon training video series. Today is a bit of a special episode. I'm going to do some post-race analysis from the inaugural Dublin 70.3 Ironman. Woohoo! That took place on Sunday, the 9th of August 2015. Got a lovely finisher's medal, got a lovely new t-shirt. Oh my gosh, got an amazing amount of pride and confidence, and oh wow, it's been 48 hours, well, not even 48 hours of literally floating on a cloud of self-pride, and I don't know how to describe it other than like that. It is just amazing how great it feels to have completed the Dublin Ironman 70.3. It was an absolutely phenomenal day. It was a wonderful experience. It was probably pretty much up there on as one of the best days of my life so far, and it was just, oh wow, it was, it was wow, it was wonderful, it was amazing, it was awesome, it was woohoo! I did it. It's just so great to have gotten round and to have completed it and to have that feeling of accomplishment and pride, and I'm still wordless, obviously, or speechless kind of thing. But it's an amazing feeling, and I have to say, a massive big thank you and a big shout out to the event organizers, to the guys who put it all together, and the guys who got together with the Ironman and who made it happen, who brought it to Ireland and brought it into our laps so that we 2,500 crazy people could fulfill goals and dreams that some of us probably thought we would never have an opportunity to do. Thank you guys for bringing it to Dublin, and not only the event organizers, but oh my gosh, the supporters, the volunteers, the people who gave up time out of their own lives just to come and scream at us and keep us going. Thank you for everything. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for getting out and supporting us. Thank you for making your voice as loud as possible. Thanks for everything. Thank you for getting us around the course. Thank you for helping support us finish, and as I said, thanks for making 2,500 people's crazy goals and dreams come true. It was definitely worth it all. It was just an absolutely amazing day. It was an amazing feeling. It's been quite a buzz since it finished. It's just been phenomenal. So for anyone who doesn't know who I am, or doesn't know, or you haven't been following along my video series, my name is Orna, obviously. And about a year ago I did my first ever triathlon. I did the Blackwater Sprint Triathlon down in Cork in Fermoy. And I did it in a surfing wetsuit, which we had a wardrobe malfunction, and I was the very last person to get out of the water. And then I got on my mountain bike. His name was Bruce. Good strong name, and he was a strong and sturdy mountain bike, and he weighed a ton. Oh my gosh. But he got me around the course. He got me around the 20k track, or the 20k lap. And then I got in off of Bruce, and I got out on the run. It was a 6k run, and oh my gosh, I thought my legs were going to give out. I had the St. John's ambulance crew following behind me because I was the last person on the course. So they were like chasing me for like the 6 kilometers. It was just, it's kind of like you're looking at them going, oh no, I'm not, I don't need your services, thank you very much. And I was, there was nobody left. They were taking down the finishing sign as I was coming into the park to finish. My husband gave a stink to them and said, told them to leave it up. And I crossed that finish line, and oh my gosh, I was bitten by the triathlon bug. It was just such an amazing feeling. It was brilliant. It was just brilliant. It was like nothing you've ever experienced before. It's just amazing how great it feels to participate in something like triathlon. It's just wonderful. But I trained for the Blackwater for about 3 months, and I thought I had done, everything. And I was, I don't have a running background or a swimming background or a cycling background. I was a noob, real noob. I gave up smoking like 3 months beforehand, and that was pretty much the extent of my exposure to triathlon. But the next day it was wonderful. And the next week and the next year, it's been 12 months to get from the Blackwater to the Ironman. It's pretty much actually bang on the 12 months. And wow, what an amazing feeling to go from a heavy smoker, 20 years as a heavy smoker, to triathlete, to Ironman, to half Ironman. But we're still there. We're still going strong. I'm looking at the full Ironman next year. There's still a goal to be chased, and we're going to get there. But we did the inaugural Dublin 70.3 this weekend, and completing that course and running down that red carpet was just amazing, absolutely amazing. And finishing and getting my medal put on me and knowing that I had done it was just amazing. I know I keep saying amazing, phenomenal, wonderful. You can't use these words too much other than to keep saying, yes, it is a phenomenal feeling when you know that you can achieve something that you put your mind to it. And that's the whole point of this, and this whole video series, and this whole sharing this experience with you guys, because it is possible. Anything at all in the world is possible. You can achieve any goal that you want. You can do anything at all that you want. You just have to put your head down and your mind to it and just push on through, and just, you'll get there in the end. You really, you will. You're a strong person. You can do it, and just keep going. It really is just as simple as that. You just head down and push on through, and you'll get there. So that's my little speech there. Now I'm going to take my medal off because I am actually a little bit chilly. But yes, woohoo! Look, and it's a lovely medal, isn't it? Oh my gosh, very, very nice. So she's going to have to find a place of honor somewhere. So that is that's my little welcome speech, and just so I can advertise for the Ironman brand a little bit more. My new hoodie. Oh, what an amazing feeling though, coming in across that finish line. What an amazing sense of accomplishment after doing something so significant as an Ironman. Like, I keep singing the Chesney Hawkes song in my head, and it's been in my head for many, many, many months now at this stage, right? You all know it, the Chesney Hawkes. I am the one and only. That one. Except I sing it in my head as I am an Iron Man. Nobody I'd rather be. I am an Iron Man. Can't take that away from me. And that's literally going round and round and round in my head for practically the whole course. But it's so true. I feel great. You feel like you could accomplish anything. You know, I could take on Superman right now, I reckon. It might be a bit of a close call, but I reckon I could still take on Superman. We'll see. Maybe that's a new idea for a comic book series. So anyway, race analysis before I totally lose the plot altogether. Race analysis, post-race analysis, and loads and loads, as usual. Always learning lessons when we're doing something new. So always learning something, always experiencing something new, always finding bigger and better ways to do things, or not even bigger and better, but always finding the ways that are going to be more helpful, that are going to, you know, really make a difference long term. So before I even start, I mentioned about the black water, and one of the things that I noticed in the black water was my swim. I thought I was a good swimmer. Now, I couldn't put my head underwater this time last year. Okay, so if you would like to do an Ironman or do a triathlon and the thing that's holding you back is the swim, then I'm going to tell you right now, don't bother bringing your excuses to me, because I couldn't swim properly last year. I couldn't put my head under the water. But after the black water try last year, I realized that the swim was my biggest weakness. You know, as far as I was concerned mentally, I could keep my legs going on the cycle and I could keep my legs going on the run. And sure, I mean, if I couldn't keep my legs going on the run, I could walk it a little bit. You know, that's kind of the way I think about things. But my swim was my big problem area. So as I've mentioned in other videos as well, I've concentrated all winter long on my swim, and at this point I swim 5 to 6 times a week. I cover, like, you know, 7 to 8 kilometers, I'd say, at least easily on swimming on a weekly basis. And the swim and that whole building up my confidence and getting better and better and stronger in the swim, that just totally stood to me on Sunday. It was one of the best ways to go into the race, knowing that the swim was, instead of a lot of people were standing around going, oh yeah, I just want to get out of the water, I just want to get finished, I just want to get out of the water kind of thing. I was really, really, really looking forward to the swim, really looking forward to getting into the water. Wasn't concerned about what temperature it was going to be, wasn't even concerned whether it was going to be choppy or what kind of conditions it was going to be. I know that it's one of my stronger disciplines now, and that I was going to be happy regardless, because once I gotten my swim up, I could get through the rest. I could get through everything, and so the swim was what I concentrated on, and it paid to me anyway. So the conditions were great. Now there was a little bit of a pull, but other than that, it was great. So anyway, pre-start. Okay, let's go right back. Okay, so I'm going to start off with lists are handy, and I'm going to show you this. Right, these are my post-its. There's 7 or 8 of them. These are my post-its for this particular video. Okay, and the very first thing that I have here is that lists are handy, and you can see that I'm showing you my post-its because lists are handy. They're just useful to have. And so before the Ironman, it was great because you had to have everything racked by Saturday evening. Your run stuff, your bike stuff had to be racked. Everything was gone. So Friday evening at 5 o'clock, it was all done. There was no, oh, have I got this in my bag? Have I got this in my bag? Have I got this in my bag? It was done and dusted. And it was great. There was no more worrying. There was no more panicking. It was just, right, there's nothing to be done now except sleeping and getting my wetsuit ready for the swim start. And so that was great. So the first thing I'm going to say to anyone who is thinking or considering doing an Ironman or any triathlon, make a list. Make a list of the things that you'll need pre-race. Make a list of the things that you'll need post-race. Make a list of the things that you'll need for the swim, for the bike, and for the run. Then break it all down into transition 1 and transition 2. And keep that list with you. Because if you have made that list and taken the time to go through that list and prepare everything for one race, you're going to need practically the same things for your next race, and your next race, and your next race. Because I'm telling you here and now, if you do one triathlon, you're going to be bitten by the bug. You're going to end up with this massive, massive, massive bite, but nobody's going to be able to see it. But it's on the inside of you, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, I want to do another triathlon right now, right now, right now. And that's how you are going to feel once you do one triathlon. So make a list, keep it somewhere safe, and use it again. And that's probably the best advice I can give to anyone. So then swim start. As I said, I found the swim was definitely one of the best things. So I was nice and relaxed, and it wasn't concerned about it. I kept thinking to myself that it was just like any other normal swim that I do, and it was. I did a race a few weeks ago called Escape from Ireland, and it was a 1.9 kilometre swim from one of the islands just off of the coast of Ireland here into Howth, the fishing village. And that was exactly the distance that the Ironman was. So it was great. And it was, the first 5 minutes you get into the water and it's choppy. It's like a washing machine, and everybody is trying to get their sea legs on them, and everybody's trying to get comfortable, and it's just a mess for the first 100 meters. And that's the way I looked at it myself as well on Sunday. And it really stood to me, because I went in and my breathing was nice and calm and relaxed, and I wasn't overly concerned, and I just headed straight off. And I got in at the side and right at the front actually as well, and settled into the swim. So that was me relaxed for the swim. But before the swim, now, the amount of absolutely ridiculously expensive runners or trainers or running shoes or whatever you want to call them from whatever part of the world you're in, the amount of expensive runners or expensive gear that was left down by the swim start was ridiculous. I'm not joking about this, okay? So you're going to do a triathlon, you're going to have to walk to the swim start. You don't wear your expensive trainers, you don't wear your expensive runners. You buy a cheap pair of flip-flops, or you buy something that you get something that you're not going to mind losing, and that's what you bring to your swim start. So cheap hotel slippers, cheap flip-flops, even socks that you don't mind discarding at the end of the road, or as long as you don't mind walking on a few stones. But the amount of people that just left things there that they're never getting back, because we finished our event in the Phoenix Park, and it was a good 20 kilometers away from where we started the swim. And you're not going to be rushing back, and you can't expect people to be picking up your runners and your stuff like that. It was made perfectly clear. So buy a cheap pair of flip-flops, buy a cheap pair of, I don't know, plasticky shoes or something like that. Get something that you don't mind leaving at swim start, and that's definitely the best advice. Pre-race then, double hat. I think I've talked about this before. The double hat theory is great. It's great in particular for women, because if you've ever done a sea swim, the salt in the sea actually dries out your hair an awful lot. And, we all like to have nice hairdos. So the double hat is great for keeping the salt off your hair a good bit. But the other reason it's great is you put on one swim hat, and then you put on your goggles, and then you put your second swim hat over it. So between those swim hat layers, you've got your goggles, which means that if you get a knock in the head, and it does happen, because I've been punched in the face and punched in the nose during swim events. So if you do get a knock or a bang or something like that, your goggles are still there, and you're not going to lose them. So that's, the main reason for the double hat. And so most events, specifically the Ironman, definitely did. They'll have different colour swim starts, so they'll have different colour swim hats for the different start times. So you put your own swim hat or whatever, then your goggles, and then your whatever brand or whatever swim hat you've been given, and you wear that, and that's the way you do it, and you're much more comfortable. And then you just whip off the two swim hats together at the same time as you're coming out of the swim, and then they just get dumped into your transition one bag. And then the other thing always say to you is double check your goggles. If you can get near the sea or the water to just splash a bit of water in your face, make sure you do, because I found that it was only 3 or 4 strokes in, and one of my goggles was coming a bit loose on my right eye, so I literally just banged it and it stuck properly. But I kept going. But there's nothing worse than having salt water in your eyes, because it'll sting you if it gets in there, and you're trying to sight and you're trying to pay attention to everything, and if you can't see properly and you do maybe you're that awesome that you get left, or you'll fly past everyone, and you need that little bit of security to know that you can see everything properly. So that's my advice for the swim. Along with, of course, obviously, relax. You've been training. You've got this. There's no point in panicking. There's no point in worrying about it too much. You've done your hours in the pool. You've done your hours in the sea. Wherever you've done your hours, people generally don't go and start doing triathlons with no training whatsoever. So if you put in the hours and you put in the effort, then you've got this. Just treat it like a normal training session. Yeah, it might take you a few minutes to get into it, but it doesn't matter. You're better off spending a few minutes getting into it, spending a bit of time, calming yourself, as I said, slowing down your breathing, getting into your rhythm, and doing what works for you. Again, I've talked about my song, my Ironman song, but I also sing. I don't even know who actually sings it. There's a song, "Reach for the Stars," and when I'm swimming, one of my coaches tells me to reach that extra bit when I'm putting out my hand, and just reach, so that you don't have to put in as much effort. And so I sing that in my head as well. The "Reach for the Stars." I'm gonna really stop singing now on these videos. But that's what's going through my head then, as for each stroke, and that's a great thing to do. But it makes you kind of focus out everything, and you're so busy focusing on yourself and worrying about your own race that you just threw it. And before I knew the swim was over, it was over. It was ridiculously fast. But that's good, because that's what we wanted. Okay, so that was getting out. That was the swim start. Okay, and then getting out of the water, I would always say to anybody, when you're getting out of the water, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter how awesomely amazing you are, because you're probably pretty awesomely amazing if you're doing a swim triathlon, or a triathlon, and you're coming out of the swim, then please remember, take every hand that is offered to you. When you are coming up out of the sea, when you're coming out of a lake, whether you're coming out of a pool, take the hand that is offered to you, because it's being offered because the organizers know that there are some people who it takes a second for the legs to get going again, and the hand is being offered because you need that little bit of support, and you got, chances are, a big event to continue on with, and you want to be on your best footing. You do not want to fall flat on your face and injure yourself as you're getting out of a swim because you're too proud to take a hand that is offered. So as a hand is being offered, grab on tight. Let them help you. Let them help pull you out of the water, because it, like I said, it takes a second or two for the blood to get flowing into the thighs again, for the legs to get going. You've been on a position like this, and now suddenly you're gone like this. You go a bit woo. That's the technical term. And so take every advantage that you could possibly get. Then into T1. Okay, so I've just talked about being woo, and so be aware of that. And if there is a support that you can hold on to while you're struggling to get out of your wetsuit, then by all means use it. If there is a bar that you can hold on to, if there's a chair that you can sit down on, if there's a flat ground that you can plonk your bum on just for a second, or that you can crawl down on, or do something, but take whatever support you can. If you can find a free space and hold on to something, then use that to your advantage. So for the transition one in the Ironman, we had to have our bags ready. So I had everything for the bike leg of the event in my T1 bag, and so I literally dumped out the contents. And that's what you do. You just dump out the contents, because if you packed your bag right, then everything that you need is going to be in that bag. And there's no point in rooting through it and having a look and going, just dump out the contents. Doesn't matter. Just dump it out, go through what you need, get your wetsuit off you, your wetsuit into your bag, wherever it needs to go, and keep going. Take your time. Don't get flustered. Take a breather. Just if you need to, don't be afraid to just take a moment or two to calm yourself down and to relax your breathing, and again, get ready for the next step. And then as you're coming out of transition 1, please remember that people will have run into transition 1 soaking wet, and you'll be running out of transition 1, and a lot of people will still be wet. So just watch your footing, because even if it's an event with only 100 people, that's 100 people running on grass or on concrete or on a pathway that probably have been dripping or, you know, could have dropped something. Just be aware that ground might be cut up, that stones could be exposed if you don't have your bike shoes on. Just, you know, take care of yourself, okay? So that's out of transition 2 or out of transition 1 and onto the bike. Now, be aware of your mount and dismount lines, preferably in advance of any event, because it's always good to know where exactly you need to get on the bike or to get off. So one of the women I trained with, she thought I thought this exact same place was the mount line, but it turned out it was around the corner. So she actually had gotten on her bike. I wasn't fully on my bike when the lady said to me, or the marshals said to me, no, the mount line is there. But she had her leg over the bike, so then had to scoot, kind of push herself up to the mount line. It's a second or two, but you know, you want to be putting in your effort, and so just be aware of your mount and dismount lines. Now, before that as well, your nutrition, because you're going on the bike, and you know, I've heard it said that wait 20 minutes before you're on the bike before you start taking your nutrition. But the reality of the situation is that coming out of salty water, you're going to have that in your mouth, and you're going to need something. You're going to be like thirsty, and you're going to be aware that you're going to want to take something to keep you going as well. But I didn't realize I dropped a load of my nutrition. I had a cycle top on, and I dropped a load of my nutrition. So be aware of and take into account that things can happen. You know, you see all the nutrition all over the place. It's falling off bikes, it's falling out of people's pockets. So just be aware and make sure that you have plenty of nutrition if something does happen to one of your nutrition, either your bars or your gels or your sweets, depending on what it is. If you need to go to the bathroom before you exit transition 1, if it's there, use it. Like, a lot of people have bowel and bladder movement issues pre-race. There's a lot of nerves going around, and there's a lot of carbs being taken in as well. So just be aware of that. But if you need to use the bathroom, then by all means use the bathroom. You're about to go out on a big cycle. You're not going to be able to do too much. I mean, you know, it's fairly much talked about among triathletes that there's the pee on the bike rule. If you can, you might as well, but just be aware that some people can't be on the bike. If you need to use the facilities before you exit transition and keep yourself going. And if you have a bike computer, or if you have, you know, one of these awesome, I want one, watches, you know, like the Garmin's or a sports watch that will take note of your times or let you know how fast you're going or what distance you've covered, then definitely use that, because I have like a little bike computer, and it was brilliant knowing that I was pushing myself to that speed, to the speeds, to the time, that I was comfortable with everything because of the fact that I was more relaxed. I wasn't concerned with the times. I knew I was on track with my plan in my head and everything like this. Bike gloves are really an individual kind of decision. I'm on a road bike for this one. I'm hoping to be on a tri bike for next year, but I was on a road bike, so because of the positions of my hands, I wanted to give myself the opportunity to just support my hands, because it's quite a long cycle, 90 kilometers. But it only took 2 seconds, and I was able to put my gloves on as I was running from T1 into grab my bike. And so, you know, think about all of these eventualities. And don't forget some cream for your bum, because chances are you're probably going to be chafing a little bit. So if you've got something you can put on, then by all means do use what you can, because you'll be thankful for it the next day or the next week when you can sit down again. Oh yes, the other piece of advice that I would definitely recommend for anyone is note where your bike has to go to. Note where your bike is racked. And if it's in a different place that you're going to be re-racking the bike, then note exactly where it is, because it saves you trying to read numbers at the end of a very busy period when you're coming in off the bike, you've got a million things going on in your head, you're trying to get back out onto the run. But if you know exactly where your bike is to be mounted, then it's just going to alleviate all of those worries and those, where do I go, where am I supposed to be going, those kind of things. So yeah, do it. And you will get penalised. Again, I'm going to go back to this. I got pulled up on my bike because I didn't dismount at the line. I didn't realise the dismount line was where it was, but I didn't dismount, and so an official pulled me up, made me stand there for a minute or two because of the fact that I didn't dismount at the line, which was fair enough, because it's my responsibility to know the course, it's my responsibility to know the rules and the regs, and I didn't follow through. So, but you will be penalised, and you know, an extra minute or two is still an extra minute or two. So that's it. The bike, there's a lot of advice given on the bike, and it's very hard if you don't know anything, if you don't know too much about bikes. When I got my bike, I was told leave it generally in the middle gear, because, or the middle wheel, the middle big wheel, because that's generally where most people cycle. And so for my training, for a lot of the time, I would be on my own. And that would be where I'd leave it. But it's literally only been in the last 3 or 4 weeks that I've realised that I'm actually cycling wrong. Now, you know, you kind of think in your head, how can you be cycling wrong? But you can be doing a lot of things wrong that you're just getting through it. Like, but learning to control your gears and learning to use your gears properly is probably one of the most important things on the bike, because it can push you up or down on speed when you're using your bike properly. Instead of going at 28 kilometers an hour, you're going at 32 kilometers an hour. That's 4 kilometers an hour. You know, overall that will make a big difference. And so if somebody gives you advice on the bike, or on anything with regards to triathlon, I know there's a general rule of thumb that free advice, you know, it's usually not worth the money it costs, kind of thing. It's free, you know. But sometimes free advice it's priceless. We have been training the route of the 70.3 for the last few weeks, and literally 3 times I done the route, and 3 times it was a different route. Now, the first time we went out, we did the route that was posted up on the website, and then the route was confirmed between the first and second, so, or the first time and the second time. So it had actually changed for the second time round. And then the third time round, we realized we'd gone a few different ways that were actually wrong. So the third time was a different time again. And we had actually gone one way into the Phoenix Park, and it was a different gate. We were supposed to go in, we were supposed to go up parallel to it and go in another gate, but we were supposed to go up a hill and go in another gate. And I never realized this. And as I was going up this hill, I was struggling with my gears, and a very, very kind gentleman on the bike flew up past me. And as he passed me, he said, "Drop your gears and spin it out." And I went, "Thank you," and did exactly what I was told, and got up the hill really, really fast, really, really happy. And And so this is the kind of things that I'm trying to tell you, that triathletes, you know, for a solo sport, for an event that you can't do with help from anybody, there's so much support and advice and help that you can get that it's unbelievable. You know, for a non-team event, the team that you have around you will be priceless, because they will just give you more and more than you could ever expect it. You think that it's just you, but it's not. It's everyone around you, and it's the same with your family and your friends and your supporters. It's not just you, it's everyone who supports you, so you can go training, it's so that you can recover from injuries, so that those people that feed you, those people that look after you, those people that will give you a rub down when your legs are so sore because you've done 100 kilometers on the bike and you're just, oh my gosh, those things, they matter. And so when you're given advice on the bike, take that advice and be happy for it. So the other thing is, when you're coming into transition, sorry, my notes are kind of all over the place, but I have them generalized. So I'm still talking about the bike, okay? So coming into transition, be aware of, if you make a decision beforehand, whether you're going to leave your bike or your shoes on the bike, or you're going to take them off, or unclip. And if you're going to leave your shoes on your bike, then be aware that the extra weight of those shoes are going to kick your pedals around, or at least cause your pedals to drop down. You know, gravity, it exists. It doesn't stop existing just because you're getting off a triathlon bike, or it doesn't stop existing just because you're in the middle of a race. Gravity is going to push that weight down, and though when you're trying to run, if you have your shoes on your bike, then be aware that you need to give yourself a little bit of a wider berth to run into transition, because a lot of people fell over bikes, dropped shoes, and then had to go back and get them. A lot of people had supporters running up and down the transition walkway, runway, whatever you want to call it, trying to give them shoes because their shoes were all over the place. So make a plan, stick to it, and be comfortable with your plan, but take into account things do go wrong, and so be aware of that as well. Oh, this one I got from my husband, because I run and I hold the front of my bike. I put my hand in the middle and I can control my handlebars by the way I hold it, and I'm comfortable and I'm away from the pedals, and so I'm not putting myself in any danger. But a lot of people, he was saying, were pushing by the seat because you look pretty cool, you know. I'm doing an Ironman. I'm an Ironman. I want to look cool, you know, doing it. So, but he was saying that a lot of people, they'd run for like 5 steps and then the bike would veer off, so they'd have to correct the bike, and then they'd run for another 5 steps and then they'd have to correct the bike again. Hold your handlebars, for goodness sake, people. Run, get to where you need to go. Don't worry about how you look. You're an Ironman. You look awesome anyway. That's that bit of it. And so that's my bike, yes. Now, transition 2. Oh my gosh, did I forget doing transition 2? Yes, I actually did. I didn't write down my list for transition 2. Right, so transition 2. It's actually really, really easy when you think about it, because you just have to change your shoes, and definitely, oh my gosh, change your socks, because no matter who you are and no matter how much you think you're not sweating, or that your feet are going to be dry for some miraculous reason, you be the only person in the world that doesn't suffer from wet feet when you're doing triathlon, but your feet will get wet. So have fresh socks in each runner as you're going along. And so when you whip off your cycling shoes, or if you're running in your socks, you whip off those wet socks, put on your fresh clean socks with little tiny amount of powder, and then you're good to go. And if you're whipping off, if you've had extra shorts on, whip them off. If you had, I had a cycling top on, and I was meant to take it off in transition 2, but I completely forgot, and so I have cuts like literally all along here and all along here. I'm all chafed and cut from the material from when I was running. The material isn't the same as the tri suit. It's it's material, so it cut me because it was damp and it was wet, and I'm suffering for it. So learn from the lesson that I didn't learn, and take off your tops, take off whatever you need to do. By the time you get to transition 2, you are more than 2/3 of the way through your race. So keep going. Oh my gosh. When I got into transition 2, it was, Orna, you have done over 92 kilometers. Just put your head down and keep going. We're on the home stretch. I've only got 20 kilometers to go. And that's one of the best ways to look at it. If you have done 90 kilometers and you only have 20 kilometers to go, and those 20 kilometers are relying on you and those legs that you've got attached to you, then you know you can get through it. You know that if you need to walk and if you need to run, then you can definitely do it. But oh my gosh, keep going. You are doing awesome. Before you leave transition 2, make sure that you have a plan for your nutrition. Do you need to have any more food? Do you need to take any drinks? What do you need to do to get you back out? Or do you need to take nutrition before you go? Do you need to put nutrition into your race belt? What do you need to do to get you going and get moving as fast as possible? Transition 2 is so much easier than transition 1, because like I said, transition 2 is just, it's a pair of runners and a pair of socks. Maybe a t-shirt depending on how you feel yourself, but it's fairly much, you know, in, out, bang, you're gone. And so on to the run. Like I said, just keep going. If you get a chance in T2 to do a bit of a stretch out, one thing I did notice when I was coming out, the guys, they had to stop and, you know, they had to stop and stretch their legs out against lampposts. They were just stuck. I straightened my legs as strong as possible and just drop from my hips down. It stretches out my hamstrings, and if you get up on your toes then as well, it kind of helps to stretch out your legs a bit. It's one of those things you can do while you're putting on your runners. If you can, try and do that. And see how that helps you. But don't be ashamed or afraid to walk. You should generally think about walking into water stations or walking into the food stations when you're doing a triathlon, especially an iron or a half iron distance, because while yes, it is going to be hard for your body to get going again, you're giving your body that just 2 seconds break, and it means that you're getting any juice into you that you need to get into you, and that you're not just throwing it over yourself, and you're not just throwing it over your face. You know, it's great to see all the pros and stuff like this, you know, especially when they're doing the iron distances and they run through everything. But stop for a second and figure out what suits you. I mean, there's no shame, there is no anything in walking into an aid station or walking into a food station. At the end of the day, you're still doing an Ironman. Ironman. That's reason enough to be proud. And you know, the last thing you want to do is to be crossing the finish line at the very end and collapsing because you haven't had enough nutrition, because your body is dehydrated, because you've just gone too far on yourself. You're going to spend a few days recovering anyway. Just do your body and yourself and your mentality a favor and just look after yourself as best you can. You know, you're putting your body through one hell of an experience. You know, people dream about doing Ironman and half Ironman, and be aware that you need to, it's your responsibility to look after yourself. And now, have food and protein bars and protein shakes there by all means by the time you get finished, but just look after yourself on the run and walk if you need to, no shame whatsoever. Which brings me to the finish line. So that red carpet, we did it was a 3 loop in the Phoenix Park on Sunday, and it was so hard going round, because the finish line was here and there was like the loop section was here, so you're like 100 meters away from the finish line. It was no, but it was great. And coming up that finish line, arms up, arms out, high-fiving everyone you possibly can, and cross that finish line with pride, smile on your face, and get the most awesome pictures you possibly can. And just know that you have completed something that many, many, many people only dream about and don't get up off their bums and experience for themselves. So that's that's my advice there. They're what I've learned from Sunday's experience, and I'm sure next year, when I go to do the full Ironman, that there'll be more experience and more lessons learned. And I'm hoping that every time we do something now, whether it be a training session or whatever, that every time we'll keep throwing new lessons at us. And it's just that the learning curve from the last 12 months has been like that, and now it's kind of leveling off. So let's keep learning, but keep enjoying the experience as well. So that's my run, and that's all my stuff. So I have a bit of a I have some general advice. Yeah, some general advice for people who may be considering doing something and are just you don't know. Some people don't like asking questions, and some people don't have anyone to turn to. So consider me like your Auntie Orna. No, please don't, actually. But I'll give you the advice anyway. So here's some general advice that I have, right? Tri-suits look awesome. They really do, and a lot of people look really, really good in them. But from a bathroom perspective, when you're in the middle of a race, a two-piece tri-suit would be much, much, much more convenient. So consider it, because trying to get material that is wet and slippery and back onto you quickly is kind of trying in and of itself during a triathlon. So if you have the option for a two-piece tri-suit, then maybe consider it. There was people throwing up on the run and everything like this, but and I've spoken to a few people as well who had dodgy stomachs, and don't try new things on race day. Doesn't matter what it is. 48 hours. There's a 48 hours before a triathlon. Don't try new things. Don't say to your spouse, "Oh, will we try that new Indian down the road?" No, 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 no. Stop. Don't do it. Step away from the telephone. Do not make that restaurant booking. Go and have something that you have eaten, that your body is used to, and that is not going to cause you a dicky stomach on race day. Because chances are you have been training for this for years, months, a year, a long time. You do not want to ruin it for one meal or for one anything. Don't try new things. Do not try new things on race day. Have your food and nutrition ready for you when you cross the finish line. There is generally food provided for you when you're doing something like an Ironman. But sometimes it's literally at the finish line, and you're so busy crossing the finish line and getting hugs and high fives from everyone that you might miss it. So bring some food for yourself. Don't rely on other people to feed you. Bring your food, bring your nutrition, bring your protein shakes, bring your protein bars. Bring something that will help to repair your body as quickly as possible with you, so that you can look after yourself, because again, you're responsible for you. I'm responsible for me. You're responsible for you. Just think about it, okay? Put a Mars bar, put a Snickers, put something in your bag, in whatever. Give it to your spouse and say, "Bring this to me at the finish line, please," if that's okay. Your spouse, your boyfriend, your dog, if he's the one waiting for you as you cross the finish line. When you cross the finish line, it is so tempting to just sit down, because you've done an awful lot and you really do want to. But stretch it out. Please, 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 please remember to stretch it out. Stretch it out. Walk for 10 minutes, do whatever it is that it takes for you to not cause those muscles to go into spasm or to just cry at you for the next week. Just take my word, spend 5 minutes stretching it out and you will be thankful, because it won't hurt for a week. And you know, these cooling gels are great for after the fact as well, because you can literally rub them onto your muscles as soon as you're finished, and they're going to stop any inflammation. They're going to, you know, they're going to help relieve. They're going to give your legs that little, oh my gosh, that little sense of feeling back in them. So think about those things. You know, I talked earlier on about lists, your pre-race list and your post-race. You know, it doesn't just finish as soon as you cross that finish line. You need to think about what you're going to do for yourself for the hour or two afterwards. And you know, if you're getting into a car and have you got a long journey home, how are you going to get home? Are you going to be fed? Because if you're starving, if you've just burned like nearly 5,000 calories doing a race or an event, your body is literally going to be starving. Feed yourself. Look after yourself. You cannot forget about nutrition. They say that now, sometimes some people say transition is the fourth discipline, and other people say nutrition is the fourth discipline. I'm going to say that one of them is the fourth and one of them is the fifth. But there's 5 disciplines in triathlon: swim, bike, run, transition, nutrition. They're your 5 disciplines. You need to know all about all of them, and it's very important to know. So stretch it out. Take a moment or two, and don't be afraid to look after yourself. Now, on a sadder kind of note, a friend of mine had an equipment issue halfway through the bike. Her bike broke, and she wasn't allowed to. The safety marshals pulled her off the course, and she wasn't allowed to do it. It's hard, because mentally what you have to do for an Ironman is you have to basically be prepared to get in your own head and be in your own head for basically 7-8 hours kind of thing. But one of the things you have to prepare for as well is you have to prepare for the fact that something beyond your control may happen that may put you out of the race or put you out of the event. And you have to be aware of this. And you can't do anything about it. There's some things you can plan for, but there's some things that there's nothing you can do about it. And it is heartbreaking and so sad to see somebody putting in so much effort and so doing all of the work and doing everything possible, and then something beyond their control causing that goal or that dream to just be gone. But be prepared for it. You have to prepare yourself mentally as well as physically. Emotional strength is just as important as everything else when it comes to Ironman. The other thing, it's not actually another thing anymore. One of the things that I have found from training from this and from all this experience is the word can't is not in my vocabulary anymore. And I'm very happy to be able to say that. You know, there is nothing that can stop me from achieving the things that I set out for myself in life. And it's been a wonderful, enlightening, interesting, fun and tear-filled road to get to where I am at the moment. And it's been a wonderful experience. But don't tell me I'm amazing because I did this, and then tell me that you can't, because don't bring me with your excuses. Just don't bring me your excuses. There's nothing in the world that can stop you from achieving goals that you set out for yourself if you just put your head down, push on through. Anything at all in the world is possible for every single human being in the world if you push on through and persevere. And it's hard, and yes, there are circumstances that are beyond your control, but at the end of the day, you can do anything. And you can. I can do anything. You can do anything. We can do anything. Just have to put our minds to it. And I'm always saying this. I end every one of my videos on that statement because it is true. Because of the fact that you can do anything. I can do anything. Smoker for 20 years. What's your story? Everybody has a story. What's your story? Tell me. Tell me your story and tell me how you're turning things around for yourself. And just cross that finish line. Arms up in the air. Woohoo! And enjoy it. That's my video for today. That's my post-race analysis. Now, when I was getting ready, I have videos on my Transition 1 preparation and my Transition 2 preparation. So I'm going to sort them out over the next few days. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to post me coming across the finish line because somebody actually managed to record it for me, which is great. So enjoy those and enjoy the amazing sense of self that you will achieve, or that you hopefully have achieved post. You still, I hope if you did Sunday, if you did Sunday with me and said hello to me, I hope I said hello back to you. If we saw you on the course, I hope you did awesome. I hope you are as proud of yourself as I am proud of myself. 7 hours, 14 minutes, 32 seconds. It was amazing. I would actually go back out and do it again today. Do you know that? That's the weirdest thing, because you want to do it again. You want to keep going. You want to go. So we're still only halfway through this goal though. We're still on a. There's still plans. There's still a plan in effect here. So I'm looking into which Ironman I'm going to do for my full Ironman next year. I have been reliably informed that unfortunately Dublin won't be hosting a full Ironman in 2016, which I'm very disappointed about, because I was really, really hoping that I would be, doing my first full Ironman in my hometown, and I'm kind of sad that I'm not. But c'est la vie, such is life. We live and learn, and we can always move ourselves to somewhere. So I'm looking at wherever I can for next year, and we'll continue on our goals and our journeys, and we'll keep going and keep pushing on through. Because if I can do anything, you can do anything. We can do anything. Anything at all. You just have to put our minds to it. Woohoo! Take care until next time.
This has been an online production.